Hello and welcome to Passion's Price. On today's episode, we're going to explore the ability to have confidence to begin again. And since this is our first episode, it's only right that I share a part of my personal story. I am a victim of narcissistic abuse, married for 24 years, together for 27, and my passion for building legacy for our family and, a devout focus on trying to be successful really allowed for certain things to take place in my life. And unfortunately for me, I was not able to see it sooner. I trusted beyond belief everything that I was told by my partner and trusted that, I could pursue a life that would benefit our entire family while he chose to pursue other women. And so for me, the confidence to begin really stems from the ability to live through something like that, because obviously it's a devastating reality, and to be an extremely ambitious and strong woman who comes from pretty much a pattern of traumas, as we all do, right? We all have different traumas and experiences that we've lived through in our life that impact who we are and how we view the world and how we trust and how we love. And for me, the confidence to begin really took me almost 2 years. And, the birth of this podcast is something that is super important to me because there is not enough dialogue or conversations that exist focusing on women and relationships and love and entrepreneurship, the chase of ambition, the cost of success, right? All of those topics are embedded within each other. Usually, women who are extremely successful sacrifice something along the way, right? Whether that be children or a relationship or marriage or, inner fulfillment. There's so many different caveats to telling our stories. There's so many stories to tell. Life is full of various experiences that form our story. And mine in particular is about self-exploration, right? And realizing that God gave me a gift at a very young age to be an entrepreneur, to strive for greatness for my family and live life in a different way along a different pattern than my mom or my dad was ever able to show me, right? And so I didn't realize that this gift came with a hefty cost, right? Not being able to pursue that within having it all, right? And when I say having it all, sometimes we have to really think about the journey that we've lived and, the pursuit of certain things, right? And how do we have the ability to have vision, the ability to fall in love, the ability to maintain that relationship, and then become a mother, raise a child, keep your business focused and afloat, but still balance your family and your life and your relationship, and be financially sound, right? How do you do all of those things if you're one person with the same 24 hours in a day that most people have, but then you're limited in your resources? How do you do that, right? Without it costing you something. And so I think some of the things that I've learned in this time is to really reflect, right? Be accountable for the things that and the decisions that I've made along the way that allowed someone to be able to take away my confidence, right? But then the level of accountability also falls on me, right? Because I allowed myself to be put in a situation where the same faith that and confidence that pushed me forward was turned into a level of self-doubt that made me question who I was at the end. And I had to sit with that for about 2 years and really digest it and hold myself accountable for the decisions that I made that were not the most responsible, the decisions that I made that didn't necessarily consider others, and allow myself to work through that, right? Because I think a big part of having the confidence to begin again is recognizing that I'm no longer that person, right? And the ability to see myself in a different way, the ability to understand all of the experiences that I've had throughout the 27-year relationship, and the experience of sitting in a level of accountability these past 2 years and losing everything, my family, my home, my business, having to move and leave the city that I was born and raised in, to really understand who I am in this moment, what it is that I want in this moment. Having learned and kind of gone through all the emotions of the turmoil that was created in my life. Who am I? And what is it that I want my life to look like now, right? I came across a quote or an idea about choices, chances, and change. We make a choice to take a chance to create change. And that literally it sums up everything that I've experienced in the past 2 years, right? I had to make a choice to stand up for myself and set a boundary and realize that the situation or the relationship that I was in no longer worked for me based on the level of disrespect and the layers and layers of deceit over a multitude of years. And I had to decide that although I wanted to see this person for who they were, they no longer were that person. They have now revealed who they truly were, and that the care and the respect and the love that I thought I had in this person really didn't exist. It never existed. And so I had to make a choice in that moment to love myself, and to love myself fully, flawed, imperfect, disheveled, all of it, right? I had to love myself despite the situation and the circumstance. So I made a choice to do that. But then, I also realized that my life and the journey that is Letitia, I've taken chances my whole life. And those chances were definitely guided. They were not always the most calculated. They were not always, rooted in fact. They were really rooted in faith. And a lot of the chances that I've taken, starting a business at 22 years old, being able to even pursue my college education, knowing at that point in my life that I had no positive examples of anyone in my family who had gone to college when I did, not knowing how I was going to pay for it, but I still did it. Being the first to graduate college in my family, that was a chance at a very young age. deciding to make sure that my daughter was able or is able to really understand what it is to be a woman in this world and dream and take a chance to execute that dream. But then, we think about change, right? So choices, chances, change. What is it about the story and the journey that I've been on in my 50 years of life that have really evoked long-term change? And that, it's pivotal, right? Because I've been on this planet for 50 years and, obviously you grow, you expand, you shrink, you evolve as you get to really understand your purpose on this planet, which I am really attuned to because I think just to exist is insult to God. I think we all were designed with a purpose. I think we all serve a purpose. I think that is what we were designed to do. And so I think I've always been on this journey to explore what that purpose is that God has for my life. And so as I reflect on all these things, I think about how I've changed, right? And who it is that I am now, and how is it that I'm going to continue to evolve and change and become better in the areas where I once was not, as I continue to build legacy, because that is a part of my purpose for my daughter and for myself and for my family. How do I change? How have I changed? And how do I continue to do so to be a better person, right? To live a purposeful and intentional life. And, the confidence to begin again comes through that metamorphosis, right? You cannot pick yourself up after, virtually your life blowing up, right? Because you've been living in this false reality and bubble for so many years, believing that, you could have it all. You could have the house, the dog, the marriage, the child, the business, the money, right? And then you realize that you can't, or at least not in this moment, right? And so, all of the things that I've been through have really made me see life for what it is, but it's also made me see myself for who I am. And it's also obviously tested my faith, my spirituality, my relationship with God, because it takes a certain level of strength to get through everything that I've endured to get on the other side. And although I will not say that I am there 100% of the way, I am excited about the potential, right? The reality of one day arriving at that place where I am fulfilled, I am happy, I am in love and able to pursue what my purpose is on this planet unapologetically, with all of the emotional support that is needed, with all of the reciprocity that is needed, and truly stand in my confidence to begin again. Is it possible to have it all? I believe the answer to that question is yes. It is possible to have it all. But is it possible to have it all at the same time? Now that is the question. Passion's Price is all about how we have these countless conversations about life, our journeys, our stories, and what it is that ambition costs us, right? For me, it was my family, my marriage, my business. Ambition sometimes can be blinding. It's also within itself sacrificial, right? Because an ambitious person is always willing to sacrifice for success. The question is, do you actually know what the cost is going to be? And the answer to that is no. No one knows, right? If we're all on our personal journeys to pursue a life that we want, many of us have vision. We see in front of us what we want our lives to be. But do we truly understand that along the way, every step forward is going to come with a level of sacrifice? There are always going to be people in your life that don't want you to succeed, that compete with you, that literally don't understand your ambition and why you can never be happy, because you should be happy, right? You should be complacent. And there are those of us who don't understand that concept, right? And it's interesting, here we are, 2025, and I truly realize even this about myself. I've never, ever been complacent about anything in my life other than my marriage. I was so complacent because I believed, I guess, that this person was dedicated to me, right? They chose me. They were dedicated to me. And the reality of that is, the same perspective that I had about not being complacent in my life, in my career, in my pursuit of success is the same principle I should have applied in my marriage. And I didn't. I got married at 22 years old. I was very young. And life was moving at such a fast-paced speed as I was chasing ambition and being young and building a life and all the things that I wanted for my life. And I could see them, I could taste them, I could feel them. And so my passion for building was stronger than just my sense of awareness, right? And I think that does come with age. I think that does come with experience, right? You're able to have a little bit more foresight to be able to allow yourself to slow down a bit and really understand how to be present, right? That doesn't happen when you're young, right? Being present, what is that when you're 22 years old? But the reality of it is, again, the confidence to begin again through all of these reflections has brought me to you guys today in Passion's Price. And these conversations that we're going to explore are, I think, life-altering, because had someone had these conversations with me before, I think life would be different. My choices would have been different. However, I don't know, however many more years that God has me on this planet, to really live by choices, chances, and change, and stand confident in the ability that I can begin again as many times as I choose to, because that, my friends, is what life is about. Finding joy, understanding who you are, standing in your confidence, and allowing yourself to understand the basic principle that life is about beginning again. We'll see you here next time on Passion's Price.